So, Scream 5, I guess just Scream, is out. They make a joke about that in the movie. And I thought it was. I wasn't the biggest fan. The directing was solid enough. It looks like every other horror movie nowadays, which I guess is the idea, you could say, with a movie like this. Referencing other movies, everything can be intentional and everything can be not intentional. But for the sake of argument, it's just kind of directing. What I did not like was the jump scares. Yes, clearly there were times where they were purposely making a joke out of how horror movies set up scares, but other times there's very clearly they're just doing jump scares, nothing that clever or interesting about it. The main character, named Sam Carpenter, get it, played by Melissa Barrera, I have mixed feelings on her. Melissa did a great job in the role, and I think she did the best with what she could do. I'm not blaming her, but the character herself has a very weird and awkward arc, which I think has a very weird message about her character. And I don't know if they were doing that on purpose, but it felt very off. It did not feel right. The villains were good. They felt like a natural progression for the series in terms of where the other movies have been going. Sometimes it would get a bit too tongue-in-cheeky in terms of like, ooh, who is the killer? When for me, the Scream movies were never really about the mystery. It was just about like the characters and stuff and like the meta elements or whatever. Like I never really cared that much about who the killer was, because there was always like a central main cast of people who I knew weren't the killer. And so watching the films, I would just more be interested in like seeing where they are and stuff. Speaking of that, characters from the previous films are back. They all do a decent job, especially David Arquette. But if you're going into the movie for them, you're going to be very disappointed because they're barely in it. In terms of the new cast members, most of the new cast members do a pretty good job. My biggest complaint is that it's a bit annoying that it seems that Dewey and Gale have kind of regressed from where they were in the last movie. And it's awfully annoying that we're kind of retreading old ground with them. It's almost unfair to say this about a fifth movie in a franchise, but at this point, the gimmick is so unoriginal. Like, I remember just seeing the trailer thinking, what can they do at this point? And I guess what they did was their head is so far up their ass with these movie references and them trying to be clever or special, but it's just not interesting anymore. Like in this age of Deadpool and stuff, like the fact that you're referencing other movies, it's no longer special. It's no longer fresh like how it was in 1996.
Watch out, Jamie. You know he's around. You know. Oh, there he is. I told you. He's right around the corner.
I think my biggest complaint about this movie is where it stands in the Scream franchise. I don't even love most of the Scream movies, but are the ones that I really genuinely really like, which would be Scream 1 and Scream 4. They have a really great beginning and ending for those characters. And this movie kind of shits all over that in a way that makes me not only not want to watch this movie again, but not want to even consider this film canon with the other ones. Which I feel bad about, because I'm sure all the people who made this film genuinely just tried their best. The people who made this made another horror film, which I would love to see, called Ready or Not, which may be good, may be bad. I heard great things about it. And I'm sure they were just stuck in a corner. They wanted to do a more commercial film so they can get more indie projects off the ground. This was the first thing they were offered, and so they ran the ball with it and tried to make something out of basically nothing, but it didn't land the mark, unfortunately. And so, yeah, I just don't really like. I genuinely wish this movie did not exist. And in my head canon, it doesn't exist. Because Scream was the only horror franchise where all 4 movies were directed by the same guy. That's something special. And then this movie takes that away. And so I'd much rather just live in a world where it ends with Scream 4 and it ends with a movie directed by Wes Craven. So, yeah. I'm giving this one a 5 out of 10. And I do not recommend seeing it.